and I was thinking only how to go and celebrate with my team and with my father, you know, because he almost had heart attack so many times, and especially there, and I saw his face, and if somebody more happier than me, it's him for sure. My father had to put up with a lot of craziness and breaking records. But he was very involved, you know. In one stage, you know, he was professor in the university. I remember the day when, you know, I was 14, I finished the primary school. So I had to go to high school. So my mother is also chemist engineer, my father, everybody, also my sister. So they didn't know what to do, you know. I was very good, but you know, with 14, we didn't have money, so they had to decide, should I go to school or should I quit the school and kind of go part-time and play tennis more. So father had to decide. And father said to me, I remember, he quit his job. You are more talented in tennis than I was ever a professor in the university. So he really put all the effort. He gave me to any coach. Only one thing, whoever coached me, because they were telling me when I was small, yeah, the guy is good, but he has a bad serve. But I was very skinny, you know, I was like at 20 kilos with the bat. And I started with the wooden rackets. And my father said, okay, you can change any shot of him, but do not touch his serve. To every coach I met, that's his serve, do not touch his serve. You can change forehand, backhand, but leave it same serving. When I was 12 till now, I didn't change anything. So father was there. Father was actually main figure in my road. Okay, mother was there also supportive, but father was there on day basis every day.
Small boys, they want to be police officers or firemen or whatever, and he wanted to be Roger Federer, fair enough. It is difficult to be in Denmark and be the only one with that big dream, and no one around him really understands what's going on, so he's kind of a freak in Denmark. He's not like all the others, and he doesn't want to be like all the others. When we have been home for a week, he's like, when do we leave? When do we leave? Now I've been enough in Denmark. Now I want to go back in where I belong. So he sees himself in the tennis world. He likes being in an environment where there are people like him. And being in London or being at Muratoglu, then he's suddenly not a freak anymore. Then he's one of the guys.
To be in this tennis life is a great life, I think, and I think she feels that the same as me.
I think he can be the best in the world, so it's not something I'm scared about saying. It's no shame having demands from your children. If they say, I want to do this and that, then I think it's my obligation as a parent to say it's very good that you have these goals, but you can't lie on the couch and hope, pray to God that you will achieve these goals. You have to get up and work, and I want to help you, and I put in demands because it's his goals, it's not mine. So I expect him to work, because otherwise I'm not going to be a part of it. I didn't have that support, and I really missed it. I was dancing ballet as a young on the Royal Danish Ballet. So nobody said to me to stick in there. Nobody told me anything. So just like everything slipped out. So I think it's important that if you can feel they have a dream, then support them in their dream, whatever it is. No siesta here. Hey? 2 weeks ago?
The tennis, I just feel something unpredictable from the first point, so yeah.
Very early we understood that tennis was, it really meant something to him. He started when he was 6 and he was very focused, and when he learned something at the lessons in the club, then he went home and in the living room he was doing the swing lines and the leg movements, and then in school they have birthdays all the time and he didn't want to skip his practice. And I told him, oh, but you have to. And he was like, but no, I want to do my tennis. And then he started to cry. I felt really bad when he started to cry, and I was like, okay, I listen. You stay here in the tennis club. I call the parents and say, you just want to play tennis. Then he wanted as well to try to play tournaments, but when I was like, you're too small and you're not good enough. But then they have these foam ball tournaments. We decided, okay, he can try one of these. And then he became number 2 in this tournament, and he didn't want to accept the trophy because he wanted to be number 1. And at that point, he was a big fan of Rafael Nadal. Was at that time number 2 in the world, and Roger Federer was number 1. And when we came home from the tournament, he said, I never want to be number 2, never. I want to be number 1. And then we had to put up Roger all over his room instead of Rafa, even though he likes both players, but he didn't like being number 2. A lot of people came and said, oh, you should put him on the national championship and he's so good. And I was like, no, he's not. He's so small. Yeah, but he can play the quali and he will do the qualis and he can do the main draw. And I was like, no. And then one year I decided, okay, we signed him up for the national championship, and he was like 8 or 9 or something. And he did the quarterfinals in under 12. And we were like, okay, maybe he was ready. And then when he was 10, I think a lot of people say you should try to go and play the international tournaments, the Tennis Europe. But we should try to take them in France and Italy, because that was the best players, just to see where is Holger, because we could see that in Denmark he was like really good. But how is he in compared to the best Europeans? So we went to France to play a tournament during New Year. And we went to Italy, and it's horrible. He lost first round, and they had this consolation. He lost that one also. And I was like, okay, he's not that good. When he was second year under 12, then he played the same tournaments in Paris and Italy, and he won them. So that was good. Only practice against Danish players would not make the perfect development for him, because I didn't want him to play with the big boys all the time, because he was still a little boy, and I didn't want him to get injured. And by traveling and playing these tournaments, he could actually play against boys his size that were so much better or as good. So we did that. In the beginning, I was there to make sure he got on court for the right match, the right court number. He was a little boy, so it wouldn't be nice to just send him along with the coach, because He was like 10, 11 years old, and he needed his mother. I'm not sure he even was able to pack his bag for a tournament and watch the schedule, so he was absolutely too small. So I just started to go along with him because I have been watching the practice, so it was natural that I was the one going along with him. Also, my husband had a lot of work in the same period, very much work, so it was not an option at that point. The older he got, the more natural it was for me to be the one going with him. So I thought at some point maybe he would say, now I just go with my coach, or I can do this. I don't need my mother anymore. But as the more I get into tennis, the more I see somehow when I look around, it's like the parents like never let go.
Of course, she knows me that well. I mean, it's my mom, so